new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.
"19 games left, just a little over 2 weeks to go in the league stage, and we're entering a weekend which could have immense significance on the points table in IPL 2024. You've got 3 versus 2 on Sunday evening, you've got 7 versus 5 on Sunday afternoon, but before that, to kick things off on Saturday, it's 10 meeting 8. RCB take on Gujarat Titans, with both teams knowing they need to win to keep their slender hopes alive for the season. Welcome to Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL, where we are in the company this Saturday of Mitch McClenaghan, Dasgupta and Shashank Kishore. Good evening, gentlemen. Mitch McClenaghan flying after an impact zone win on Friday night. You must be happy.
I am. I'm fizzed up. Yep. Oh, I tell you, it's this corner off the couch. But I'm actually fizzed up for this game. I know it's 10 versus 8, but I feel like the way RCB's going at the moment, how they've gone in the last couple of fixtures, I just feel like there's something brewing, and particularly going home, putting themselves in a position where they can make there's a chance, if they win all their remaining fixtures, of threatening a backdoor entry into the playoffs. So I'm excited for tonight's game.
The beauty of the scenario right now is that 51 games in, there's no team which has got the tick, and officially, mathematically, there's no team which has got the cross either, although Deep Dasgupta was at the Wankhede to see Mumbai Indians all but confirm that cross next to them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the way they should have chased down that total. But anyways, it's just not happening for them this season, let's put it this way. Yeah.
And Shashank, which version of you? I believe your alter ego has been released to the world as well, called Shashank Manohar. That was quite an interesting tale. But the tale I want to hear from you as we bring up the points table going into this match 52, RCB versus GT, is the tale that RCB fans are holding on to. What are those scenarios, the 1 in 14 million, which will see RCB qualify?
Well, the good thing is they are not out of the race yet. The bad thing is they're playing at home. But coming to the scenarios, they just have to hope that KKR and Rajasthan Royals run away and force a fight for 3rd and 4th. One of the possible scenarios is 2 teams tied on 14, finishing 3rd and 4th, without any net run rate coming into the picture. And that's one of the scenarios that RCB find themselves in. So lots to play for. Was very unlikely even a week ago. But again, no team is eliminated.
Wow. 2 teams and 14. Yeah. There's a possibility.
Without net run rate coming into the picture.
10-team IPL, that would be the lowest, isn't it? 14?
Yeah, all the 10-team seasons so far have seen the 4th team qualify in 16. But just as we bring up that points table, I would want Deep and Mitch to wager a guess on which way will the top 4 stand 19 games from now.
Oh, I think 1-2 is fine for me, Rajasthan, Kolkata.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord, that 3-4. Hyderabad would be one of the 4. The 4th slot is the one that oh God, I don't know why I'm kind of inching towards Chennai a bit with all the experience and everything else.
Hyderabad also have the advantage of having 2 games in hand. Delhi finished the league games on the 14th, and Hyderabad have 2 left after that. So they will know their equation even if they lose a couple of games.
Lucknow's last 2 games is Mumbai and Delhi, isn't it?
Yeah, that is right.
So that's a positive, isn't it? Last 2 games, Delhi and Mumbai. By then, obviously, you'd know where at least Mumbai would stand.
Yeah. MI will be out, but DC might still be alive.
Yeah.
Are you seeing any changes in that top 4?
I think if I'm waiting for tomorrow to watch if CSK can bounce back.
You wait till 19.
Wait right till the end, and I'll make the call. No, I think tomorrow's fixture is going to be very important. Punjab versus CSK. I think if CSK don't bounce back against Punjab, I think it's an uphill battle for them, and then I think Lucknow might sneak through.
All right. For the moment, let's train our attentions on this one. Chinnaswamy Stadium, where RCB and Gujarat Titans are facing off 6 days after they met each other in Ahmedabad, which was one-way traffic. Gujarat ended up scoring 200, but RCB made little weather of that chase. 206 in 16 overs, thanks to that Will Jack century of just 41 balls. Yeah. The last 84 of those runs came in 25 balls, I think. And Will Jacks is quite the story for RCB when you look at this mini resurrection of sorts that they've had. He's teed off in a way very few people have. His takedown of Rashid on Sunday stands out. I mean, when was the last time anyone saw Rashid taken down that way? And what it means today is, when was the last time a batter came into a game facing Rashid Khan feeling so happy?
Which is true. And you know what? It was quite interesting, that innings. The first 17, he was 17 of 17. It's not that he wasn't trying. He was a little lucky those first 17, initial 70-odd deliveries, a few outside edges, inside edges, toe end of the bat, but he survived. But then once he got through, I think I still remember, there was this Mohit over when he started teeing off. That was the first over of pace that he played in that innings. And then there was no looking back from there on. I think he hit Mohit for about 15 or 16 of that over. And then it didn't matter. It was Noor, Rashid, whoever it was, he just went berserk. In fact, they needed about 24 or 30. I still remember I was doing the presentation, so I'd gone to the washroom. By the time I came on, the match was over.
I saw one of the videos that was posted online on Twitter, I think, and by RCB, and the chat apparently was between Kohli and Will Jacks, was that Kohli told him he's only going to bowl the slow ball, so be ready for it, hold your shape and swing clean. And that's exactly what he did against Mohit Sharma, which started that, the trigger for that big innings.
What's particularly impressive when you look at Will Jacks' T20 numbers overall is that he's strong against pretty much every bowling type. When you look at
Not a usual sight for a right-hander to struggle against off-spin. It's one of those funny ones, isn't it? You don't expect that at all. And if he's struggling against an off-spinner, geez, I'll tell you what, it's an interesting scenario. So I think he's a very exciting player. I mean, he didn't play last year, did he? But he's come onto the scene. We've seen how destructive he's been for England, how he went in the SAT20 at times. He's a very exciting batsman, and geez, the last thing we need is some English batters in form before the World Cup. that will be painful. But he's batting beautifully, and I think that partnership between Virat Kohli and himself the other night was awesome.
Yeah.
Virat's just got phenomenal numbers against Gujarat, doesn't he? I think his last four scores have been 58, 73, 101, and the 70 not out the other day. Those are when you take a liking to a team, that's the definition right there. So I'm expecting Kohli to have another big night, Will Jacks to continue that vein. I don't see how you stop them from chasing down the score unless you get 260.
On Will Jacks, I think he's had to learn on the job here in the IPL, because he's played much of his T20 cricket as an opener. Just 5 innings at number 3 prior to the IPL, and he's come in and taken a liking to that position, which probably opened up only because Maxwell decided to take a break, and then he came in. So he's learnt on the job, and I think he's done really well. And on the Kohli point, just to add to it, last year, the same fixture in Bangalore was a century. Kohli hit 100 in that game. There was a lot of rain, and Gujarat won it. So Shubman Gill scored the 100 and knocked RCB out of the tournament in the same fixture last year.
Can it happen again?
You never know.
It would be nice to see.
A Virat 100 and a Shubman 100. That'd be a spectacle.
Shubman Gill's waiting to score some runs. He's not had the kind of season we all thought he would. But just going back to Will Jacks, how impressive is that bit of adapting to number 3 that Shashank brings up? Because he'd barely batted at that position through his career, and not with much success.
True, and it's very challenging for an opener to come at 3. Not just the fact that you might be playing a spinner first up, but also the weight. As an opener, you're not used to waiting with your pads on. Just to wait with your pads on, it's a different kind of a challenge. Waiting for somebody to get out. I mean, that's something as an opener you're not used to. So that is one. Secondly, and it's very difficult for an overseas, as in Sena country batter, to come to India and play in that number 3, number 4 slot. Harry Brook, great example from last season. And just take anyone. It's very difficult for an overseas batter to come and adapt to these conditions in the middle order when you're playing spinners. Chances are straight up, which happened with Will Jacks in the last innings. He first, I think 4 overs or something he played were spinners. So I think he's done a fabulous job, and it's so impressive to see those numbers against spin for an overseas. When I say overseas, I'm talking about Sena country. To see those numbers against spin, whether it's leg spin or left arm orthodox and all, so obviously genuine talent there, and something which is pretty rare. Like I said, first season, middle order, being successful.
He's also had a bit of experience of playing in the PSL, where you
PSL,
potentially play on wickets that are slightly slower.
Yeah.
And also the fact that
He did
tournament
alright,
is
right?
just held before the IPL.
And he did okay.
And he did pretty well there. So that kind of helps as well.
Let's see how he goes this time. We have toss news. RCB have won the toss and elected to bowl, surprise, surprise, at Chinnaswamy with rain around the corner. In terms of team news, Gujarat Titans have made a few changes. We see a return, in fact, not just a return, a first game this season for Josh Little, who replaces Azmatullah Omarzai in the overseas complement. And Sai Kishore is gone, and we will see Manav Suthar. Shashank, what can we expect from Manav Suthar?
Very, very promising left arm spinner. Little old school in the way he flights the ball, relies on dip, gets a lot of turn, plays for Rajasthan in the domestic circuit. Comes from a place called Sri Ganganagar, which is an outpost, really. A rural hamlet that really doesn't have too many facilities. So he grew up playing cricket there. Moved to Jaipur to live with his grandmother, because that was the only avenue for him to, take cricket seriously. So enrolled at an academy there and came through the ranks. And Rajasthan, as an environment, is a pretty tough place because of a lot of administrative issues and off-field issues. So for him to have come up through the system there speaks volumes of his tenacity. Last year, he was part of a target group of players who were being promoted by the BCCI by giving them guidance at the NCA. He broke through into the India A and the India emerging teams, went on a tour to Sri Lanka, where he was the highest wicket taker. So I think this call-up is long due. You expected him to get picked last year. He didn't. But the fact that he's come in now and gets an opportunity in a crunch game, I think it's very well deserved. He's a very good talent to watch out for.
What that means is that Gujarat still remain with 3 spin bowling options. If you look at that 11 again, Rashid, Noor, and now Manav Suthar. Mitch, what do you make of that?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I really don't. This isn't the ground to play 3 spinners. I don't know where you're going to get the opportunity to bowl 3 spinners to get the 12 overs out of the way. And you've got Tuatia if you needed a third spinner.
And Mohit also bowls a lot of those slower deliveries.
Yeah, and I would have parked. I probably would have parked Noor. I don't think Noor's done anything wrong, but I would have liked to have bolstered the batting. I would have liked to have seen a Matthew Wade come in at the top of the order, come out and take the attack to RCB, because they're going to, or something like that, something just to bolster the batting a little bit more oomph than that attack. So, in that batting lineup. I would probably get proven wrong now, but this ground I don't think is where you play 3 spinners.
Yeah, but to be bowling second now with those 3 spinners, with Mohit Sharma having his issues, it's not an easy first game for Josh Little coming into the side.
I mean, first game of the season, Chinnaswamy, I mean, that could be quite a thing. But yeah, I got to agree with you, Mitch. I mean, I'm a little surprised to see 3 spinners. I mean, Chinnaswamy at times, I still remember a couple of years ago, the average scores were pretty low. But even then, to play 3 spinners wasn't the way to go with at Chinnaswamy. So I'm a little surprised. And also, I mean, ideally on that surface, if you have someone, I'm just thinking about, do they have any out-and-out fast bowlers as such in that
Their
squad?
domestic options were Darshan Nalkande, who is on the impact bench. I thought I saw...
Darshan played
Shashank Mishra.
Yeah. There's Warrior, who's on the impact bench as well. So you'd imagine one out of Nalkande or Warrior coming in.
Yeah,
unless,
Warrior would.
Unless
Karthik Tyagi.
They've got Tyagi as well. They've got some good young seamers.
There's Jayant Yadav on the impact bench as well. Imagine Gujarat shock all of us. Just go all
Get another spin. Yeah, sure, why not? But I mean, listen, it's an interesting one. We'll only figure out once the game starts and see how the pitch behaves.
Yeah, but while we are on the conversation of Gujarat spinners, Rashid Khan, who's having easily his toughest season in the IPL ever, him playing with Noor Ahmed shows up some interesting numbers. Rashid has, of course, been in the IPL for a long time. If this is his record for Gujarat Titans, so you're looking at the last 3 seasons, Noor Ahmed entered the picture last season. You look at the numbers ever since, Rashid's economy has gone from under 7 to well over 8. Is that a function? What do you put that down to, Mitch? Is it a function of a difference in the overs he's bowling?
No, he's bowling one over in the power play, which we're not used to seeing. He's usually bowling the 5th or 6th over. So that's probably a slight change. But when you've got two wrist spinners operating at the same time, they seem to bowl the same pace as well. And that can also lend itself towards being a little bit easier to face Rashid, because you're not going from a seamer to Rashid bowling, or a orthodox who's bowling a different pace or a different type of delivery. You're kind of getting the similar type of bowler, even though one's a left arm wrist spinner and one's obviously a normal leg spinner. I reckon it might be something to do with the pace, and they bowl them consecutively, right?
Yeah.
During that middle phase, they don't break it up often, if at all. So it's a period of consistency for the batter. And if you don't lose wickets, it becomes a little bit easier to get into a rhythm.
Is it also not just mere coincidence that these 2 seasons with Noor in the side are also the seasons where you've had the impact player rule, and as a result, increased scoring rates?
Yeah, that is there. The other important thing, I agree what mentioned. It's a quite interesting point that you make. The other thing is, listen, this year, especially this season, and having watched him a few games live, he's not hitting the right areas, that used to be his strength, consistently hitting that area. But I think this season he's either too full, too short, and it's not easy. Let's not forget he's just coming off a back surgery, not an injury, but a surgery. So I guess that has got a role to play as well. It's not easy. Coming from a back injury is difficult. This, we are talking about proper surgery, rehab, and everything else. What I think is he still hasn't found that right rhythm and find the right areas that he's so good at. I guess that, and those numbers could well be coincidental. Yeah.
And that reflects itself if you look at the fact that Rashid break down his IPL seasons, and this is by far, it's the worst average he's ever had. The strike rate, Rashid Khan taking less than a wicket a game seems almost unthinkable.
One of the things that Deep touched upon was rhythm. Over the last 4 years, if you look at it, he's come into every IPL season on the back of the PBL, the PSL, and the IPL. But this time around, because of the surgery, he hasn't played any cricket since the 50-over World Cup in October.
True.
So he's coming in undercooked, and potentially that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. And that's what I think. I think those numbers, as interesting as they are, and the point that you made, Mitch, I guess it's still not, 100% there, in terms of being undercooked and injury and all of that.
Right. Let's take a look at how RCB are lining up for this one. There is a change in their ranks as well, because Vijay Kumar Vishak, who's been away for a while, not played the last few games, returns. This is RCB's bowling first 11. They have won the toss, so you'd imagine Rajat Patidar slots in when they come out to chase.
Quite interesting. Even RCB, they've kept those 2 spinners, so obviously there's something in there, on the pitch.
They potentially have 4 spinners to use, given Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's quite interesting. Both the teams are very similar in terms of how they set themselves up.
Potentially, I guess, at the toss, Fath alluded to the fact that it's been raining the last couple of days, which means the wicket's been under covers.
Right.
He said they're looking at chasing because they don't know exactly what the surface is going to do. So we could potentially see the surface be a little bit sticky, which would lend itself towards spin. Generally, when it's sticky, you see the ball seam and swing a little bit, but when it seams and swings, it also turns.
Yes.
So we might see that. And if it does turn, you'd imagine if it's sticky, it'll be sharp turn, which could be difficult to play.
So while that's on the surface, what about the fear of rain? There's only so much you can read into forecasts. But if it does start raining, how much of a threat does that become to your spinners?
Oh, massive. Rain and everything else. Even I don't think Bangalore, the whole ground is covered. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not covered. The whole ground is covered.
No,
it's not, right?
Just the square and
just the square and maybe the 30-yard circle.
Sand-based now.
Yeah, but then what the worst part is when they take the covers off, the water's still on the covers, right? And every time the ball hits the boundary and it's on the covers, and there's like puddles of water on that cover, and that can be scary as well. So listen, it's a tough one.
Do you remember the last time you've covered so much cricket at the Chinnaswamy? Do you remember the last time there were 6 spinning options in a game at Chinnaswamy?
Yeah, 2017 was one season where 140 was a winning score at the Chinnaswamy.
Yes.
And the wicket that year was relayed, so nobody had a clue as to how it will play. So every captain coming in, would go into a game not knowing what the pitch was, because you had 4 squares completely behaving in different ways. So 140 proved to be winning on about 4 or 5 occasions out of the 7 games that year. So
It was awesome.
You loved it.
It was wicked. It was great. You just bowled slow balls and they spat and went low. Yeah, reverse. Yeah, it was great.
I'd thrown that question at Shashank thinking that it's almost rhetorical. He'll say it never happens, but that is the genius of Shashank. Thank you for the
Because that was fascinating, right? I don't know if you've gone into it too deep.
you played that season, 2017?
I played that, and it was interesting because New Zealand's used to having sand-based outfields, but they changed to sand-based outfield and took some time to figure out how to keep the water in the block. So because the sand would just draw all the water out of the block, so they couldn't keep enough water in it. So they've kind of figured it out now, haven't they? But it was great for bowlers at that point, because historically you used to go to Chinnaswamy, you'd be like, oh my word, you don't want to be here. But that year, ace, unbelievable.
I think Mumbai were 9 for 4 when Samuel Badri came in and picked up a hat trick.
You had to bring that up. I was saying how positive it was.
But I think Mumbai still won the game.
3 and being part of a
Mumbai
hat
still
trick.
won that game, I think.
We did.
You know he was part of the hat-trick, and now you've reminded him.
Thanks
It's
for
okay. It was a
I
good.
never got put up the order after that again. Ricky did it,
just a
and then
few
Mahela did it. No, twice. Yeah, Ricky did it, and I was successful, and then Mahela did it. I was part of a hat trick and never got to put the pads on again. I think I might have gone down to 10 after that, from 8 to 10.
I think they acted too soon. I think a game before that you'd made 20 of 9. You should have got more of a chance.
Exactly.
Tough luck. Make up for it in the impact zone. Focusing now on the batters who will play today, Gujarat Titans batting first at the Chinnaswamy means a test for something that's not gone well for them. Shubman Gill and Sai Sudarshan. Sai Sudarshan has a lot of runs this season, Shubman Gill not so much, but both of them have been among the slowest batters in the power play. Strike rates below 130 seem particularly unthinkable deep in this season given the scoring rates.
It is. I mean, it's a difficult one. Obviously, both of them are very kind of old school in their approach and everything else. And also, I guess if you're looking at the venue, as in Ahmedabad, it hasn't been a very high-scoring venue this season. So also keeping in mind that, they've played this is the 5th game there, or 6th game if I'm not wrong, something like that. So, I mean, a lot of those games have been played at home where the pitch was not as high-scoring as some of the other venues. But yeah, that's something that both of them need to work on. There's no two ways about it. They need to get it up in the 140 range at least. Yeah.
It's also a rather low boundary percent, 17s and 18s for both of them. Kohli, in comparison, is 25%, and that has to change at Chinnaswamy.
Well, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
Unless it's 2017 Chinnaswamy.
Yeah, you'd hope so. When you're out of form as a batter, you go to certain grounds around India, around the IPL, and your confidence as a batter increases. I think Chinnaswamy is one of those stadiums. If you've been struggling, you come here and go, oh, you have a couple of hits in the nets, and you go, well, geez, that went 10 rows back. Next one goes 20 rows back, and you go, I'm back in form here just from hitting some at practice into the stadium. So I'd expect that we'll see a greater boundary percentage. Again, this is why I would have played Matthew Wade, because he's going to be aggressive and he's going to take on the bowling, and when someone's taking on the bowling, that can flow on from there. And I think that's what Gill and Sai Sudarshan need. They need someone to really take some mojo from and continue the momentum.
Just to add to that, I mean, you've got Saha as well between Sai Sudarshan and Gill, and Saha is the kind of a batter who you need to open. I mean, there's no other position that you can play him in. So even if you had to pick an Indian wicketkeeper, this may have been left field, but there could have been a possibility of them looking at Sharath. He's only played 1 game, but he plays his cricket for Karnataka. He's played a lot of T20 cricket in Bangalore, and he can bat in the middle order as well. So maybe tactically, given his knowledge of the pitch and the conditions, potentially he could have been an option in the middle order, or otherwise probably play Matthew Wade at the top of the order to unsettle the bowling of RCB a little bit.
All right, all points taken. It's now time for serious business. Let's head into the impact zone. There's the drill for you. Each of our experts picked 3 players for each game, a batter, a bowler and a wild card. Impact points for each player are counted as per ESPN Cricinfo's Smart Stats, And the expert with the highest points tally for each match gets 3 points in their season tally. The winner from last night was Mitch McClenaghan, so he will allow others to take strike. Deep, why don't you start us off with batters?
Batters. Virat Kohli.
Safe.
Safe.
Mitch.
I'm going to go Will Jacks.
Will Jacks. Shashank.
I'll go Rajat Patidar.
Patidar to come in as impact sub, we would imagine. Let's go to bowlers with Shashank.
Bowlers. I'm going Mohammad Siraj.
Siraj. Fancying him making a comeback. Deep.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Rashid.
Rashid Khan. And Mitch, your bowler is
I'm going to go with Khan Sharma.
Karan Sharma. And now, get us your wild card.
My wild card is going to be Glenn Maxwell.
Ooh. Shashank.
I know I said he's a little stagnant at the top, but I'll go Ridhiman Saha.
Oh, nice.
Shashank always backs the domestic players, especially the ones who are not in form. And they tend to come into form. Deep.
Wild card. Faf.
Faf for you. Well, there's not a lot left, is there, for me to pick?
Good, Gill.
Let's go Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
He's not been picked. You know what? Let's go Sai Sudarshan as well, if no one's picked him. And in the bowlers, let us go with the returning Josh Little.
Okay.
Seeing him for the first time this season. Let's see how he goes. All right. Quickly into scores and outrageous predictions. Mitch.
I think they're going to scrape through to 185.
And outrageous?
Outrageous pick is going to be that Rashid Khan won't take a wicket. Oh, sorry, that'll be my second innings.
Yes.
Outrageous will be that
Whoa. Sorry, yeah.
they will be 3 down in the power play.
Okay. 3 down in the power play. Deep.
Right. Score. With so many spinners, will be that high scoring, right? I'm still gonna go with 190.
All right. And an outrageous pick.
Outrageous pick would be Ridhiman to get. No, that won't be ridiculous. Sorry.
What were you thinking?
I think him to get a 15 ball 30 kind of an innings.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Given his form, I think we'll take it.
Take it? All right.
30 in less than 15 balls. 15 or less.
Yeah.
All right. Shashank.
Titans to make 165. They won't make more than 40 in the power play.
Less than 40 in the power play.
Okay.
Is what Shashank says. All right. That is the first time in a while we haven't seen 200 in our predictions range. That's almost a welcome change, isn't it?
We're just going with what the captains have offered to us.
Yeah, and
the
with all-
team and everything else. If they are wrong, we are wrong as well.
I think if RCB batted first, we probably would have said 200.
Yeah, fair enough.
Either which way, we'll find out
Okay.
how it goes, and we'll pick up the conversation at halftime after the end of Gujarat's innings against RCB. So be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout, powered by JBL. Download the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app if you haven't already. It'll have you covered with the fastest scores and a lot more. See you then at the end of Gujarat's 20 overs.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the city bred SUV.